Premier is here. Premier Heating and Air service calls are now only $69. Your first pound of Freon is free. And if you need a new replacement system, Premier Heating and Air is now offering 60 months financing at 0% on all new AC systems. Premier also offers great second chance financing. Log on to dublin.premierishere.com and let's get things cooled down today. Premier Heating and Air, a locally owned and operated company. With approved credit, offer expires 8/31/2024.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Team Lawrence. I'm your host, Pat Brock, the Public Information Officer for Lawrence County Schools. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back to school, and we are back at it again. We're here at Crossroads Alternative School, where Torrance Pittman is the principal. We're getting ready to go down these halls and meet some of these educators who've been in the business for a very long time. And you're going to hear from them and just hear the heart that they have for education and the heart that they have for these children. Are you all ready to get started? I am too. Let's go. You know, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting this year off right. We're going into these buildings and talking to our staff and just hearing about how, of course, this is the second day, but we've got a lot that have been here at Crossroads for many years, and they have a lot of stock invested in kids. And we've got Dr. Luciana Turner. How are you, darling?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Nice to see you.
Nice seeing you as well.
You AKA down today.
Yes, ma'am.
You must have known this camera was coming in here.
Yes.
I love it. I love
Representing well.
Representing well. Now, listen, give us a little backstory about you and tell us about your family, because you come from a family of legends.
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay. I am a 1994 East Lawrence High School valedictorian graduate. And both of my parents, Jesse Turner and the late Charles Turner, are both educators at East Lawrence High School and East Lawrence Middle School for 30 plus years.
Look at that. Now, wait a minute, people. I did not realize that I was talking to the valedictorian.
Yes.
You threw that in there, Doc.
I did.
And I love it. I love it. I love it so much. And so here it is. You're a valedictorian, class of 1994. Your parents, who have such an investment in kids, the late, great Charles Turner.
Yes.
Your beautiful mama, Jessie.
Yes.
And now here you go.
Yes.
Give us a little back history about you as an educator and, of course, your education.
Okay. I graduated from Payne College with a BS degree in biology pre-medicine. Then I went to the Medical College of Georgia and majored in physician assistant. And then after that, changed careers due to family issues. My dad got sick, so I had to make some adjustments in my life. And I had an educational background, so I went back to school to get certification from Georgia College, received my master's from Troy State University, and my specialist from Nova Southeastern, and I just received my doctorate 3 years ago from Nova Southeastern University.
All hail the queen.
All hail the queen.
Here it is, you know, your background, your family, and the education and those letters behind your name. Has that something that's always been instilled within you from your parents?
Yes, my parents always emphasized the importance of education, and we saw that in our homes as young as I can remember. We actually went to the school that they taught, so we always saw how they presented their information to the students and how they encouraged them just as they encouraged their own children to do well in school.
For sure. How much of your parents' influence is on you, and do you see, or does your mom see, much of herself in you?
Well, believe it or not, both of us were biology majors, so I teach science and math, and she was a science teacher as well. And then my father also had some dibs in science as well because he was a health PE teacher. So throughout our lives, even my siblings and I, all of us are related with the science fields. So that was an impact for us.
And so here it is, you're a PA.
Yes.
But you're in this classroom.
Yes.
And here it is, there's so many things you could do.
Yes.
Why education?
Well, that was my foundation. My love for medicine, that is my love, but my foundation has always been education. So I feel like I have the ability to give to my community, encourage students to be the best that they can be, as those, when I was in school, encouraged me to be the best I can be.
Let me ask you this, were you daddy's girl?
I was.
How big of an influence was your dad on you, and what special times will you always hold dear to your heart with your dad?
I had the great ability to have both of my parents as my teachers when I was in school. I also played basketball and ran track. Those were the sports that my father did coach. And not only myself, but he also just included the team as our family. So those who did not have that father figure at their home, he made sure that he portrayed that father figure when they were on the basketball court or on the track field.
Legendary.
Yes.
Legendary.
Yes.
I remember when I played basketball, I was down at the Falcons Nest, played against your father's team.
Yes.
I'll never forget that. And so here it is. You've been in education now how many years?
This is my 20th year.
Your 20th year.
Yes.
How have you seen yourself change through the years to become the educator you are today?
I see the differences that the kids have gone through over the years, and I try to accommodate by adjusting to what they need in me as a teacher.
I've been hearing that a lot about seeing the needs of kids and realizing that kids learn differently.
Correct.
And have you seen education change through the years at all?
Definitely.
In what ways have you seen that? Because your parents, I mean, they taught in a whole different era.
Correct.
And now here it is, you're another generation.
Yes.
And your mom, what does she see differently about it?
It's just that these days kids deal with a lot more than we dealt with when I was in school. So as an adult, we have to at least try to understand where they're coming from. Versus when I was in school, things were a little bit different. There wasn't a lot of internet access and all those
distractions.
Right.
Honey, we didn't have that.
We did not.
I could talk on the phone every now and again.
Every now and then.
I had
at a certain time.
If not, they would get on the other line.
Real.
All right, good night.
Yes.
And so here it is, you got all of these different elements that this generation is dealing with.
Correct.
And for you as an educator in the regular classroom, and now you've transitioned, you've been here at Crossroads for how long?
This is my 10th year at Crossroads, but 20th year total in Lawrence County.
Look at that, girl. What do you work on with the kids here? Because it's like when kids come to Crossroads, there's a reason why. But you still have to teach this child. They still need to make sure they still get the best education they can be and that they can be all that they can be. What do you work on in these classrooms with them?
You have to break down the barriers first, and you have to have a rapport and a relationship with the students. And that gives them the ability to trust you and understand that you're there for them for not only just educational needs, but other needs that they may be experiencing that we have other resources to help deal with.
And what are some of the challenges that you may face? Because, when a kid goes to Crossroads, there's always going to be some kind of judgment there, right? And you have to break down those the stereotypes. You have to break down those preconceived notions in order to reach that child. What's been some of the challenges for you?
Sometimes the kids feel like when they go back to their home schools, they've already have that label on them because they have been to Crossroads Alternative School. But we try to instill in them that Crossroads does not define who you are.
Right.
They have the ability to leave Crossroads and move on to their home schools and be successful.
And that's so important, and you're right. And kids, they have this, there's a lot of peer pressure involved, and a lot of them fall to that. Do you see that a lot here?
Sometimes, but they kind of understand they're here for their reasoning, and they're willing and able to do what they need to do so they can go back to their home schools and be a part of their school and enjoy the activities and things that go on at their school.
And because I know how you're raised, you have I know that you have a strictness about you to where, things have to be a certain way, the way you run your classroom. What is your philosophy as an educator, and what is the climate like for you, or how do you want the climate like in your classroom?
I do have stricter rules and regulations, and I think that's just because of especially my father. That's how he was. But the biggest thing is that we all have respect for one another, and I encourage them to realize that the real world, there are different things they're going to experience. So this is like their stepping stone to the things they may experience in the real world.
Oh my gosh, this is such, just listening to this and listening to her and really showing that Team Lawrence, because a lot of times we're basically, or most of the times, in East Lawrence Middle, East Lawrence High School, West Lawrence, and we hardly get to Crossroads. But we really want this show here to show people what goes on here, the quality education that they're receiving, the people that come from good stock here that know what they're talking about and know how to work with kids, to know that you're here in that building taking care of those kids.
And we thank you for that. A lot of times we do not we're not highlighted because of the stigma, but we are teachers who are willing and able to help the students to move forward to being better citizens and successful.
And what do you want to say, Dr. Turner, to those parents out there? Because, you know, you need the parent buy-in. You need the parents to be able to be supportive of you as teachers, as educators, so that these kids, you know, will have it from both ends. What do you want to say to the parents?
That we like to encourage parents as well as the students to work together as a union, so that we can work, and when we work together, we're able to make sure that the students receive the education that they need and encourage them to be successful in whatever they decide to endure.
Very good. What do you want to say to these kids? Because, you know, I know sometimes, you know, sometimes it can get a little overloaded. There's a lot of times it can get very frustrating, I think, in the position that you're in, because for one, you've got to make sure that your relationship with the principals and administrators in these buildings, that you've got that congruency and that you're working together. But what do you want to make sure these kids know?
That we see them beyond Crossroads. We see their full potential, and it's up to, even though we try to persuade and encourage them that they have the ability, they have to believe in themselves that they have that ability to move beyond this. This is just a hurdle that they had to conquer, but they have greater and better things for them to come.
Spoken like a true coach's daughter. The hurdles, baby. I love that. And, you know, and there is a finish line.
Correct.
And thank you all for being that lifeline for these kids. Thank you so much for how you do invest in these children. Yes. You care for real.
We do.
You care for real. And thank you for, like, you know, you could be doing a whole lot of other things. You could be a whole lot of other places. Yes. But we're so grateful that you're here at Crossroads and doing what you're doing for these young people.
Thank you. And I thank you for highlighting us again. Sometimes our Crossroads get a bad rap, but we don't want students to be here and thinking that this is their final destination, because it's not. But we're here, all our teachers, we're here to encourage them to move on to bigger and better.
Very good. Crossroads is just a pit stop.
That's it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Luciana Turner.
Hi, I'm Michael Wheelis, and I'm inviting you to come join us this summer here at Dublin Piggly Wiggly. It's the perfect time to fire up the grill, and we have everything you need, from charcoal to fresh chicken, pork, or beef. And remember, Piggly Wiggly is a certified Angus beef retailer. Fresh vegetables are always in stock, from corn, cabbage, and green beans to squash, okra, and potatoes. We have the freshest produce around, including apples, oranges, and fresh watermelons. All our meats are cut fresh daily, and we'll be glad to custom cut anything you want. So come enjoy the summertime at your Dublin Piggly Wiggly. We'll see you soon.
Well, trucking is a 7 days a week, 24 hours a day operation. So there's a tremendous need for the logistics field, for drivers and mechanics to work on. Fred had a desire to be a mechanic. We encouraged him to seek some additional training that offered through OFTC, which he did. What he learned at OFTC has just taken his job and his performance to another level.
We often speak about the longevity of teachers. We've got Jackie Nelson here to my left, who has 30 years. This is her 30th year in education, and she is doing it up. How are you doing, Jackie?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Girl, you've been at this thing a long time.
A long time.
Give us a little history, a little background on you, okay?
Okay, well, I started out in education right out of college, 95, and I didn't find teaching, it found me.
Wow.
But I never missed a beat. I graduated from Georgia College in 95 with my bachelor's degree, and I went back to Troy University for my master's, and then went back to Georgia College for my specialist. And I've been in Lawrence County all those years except one, the very first year.
You know, that says a lot about a person here. When did you fall in love with education, or when did you decide that this is what you wanted to do?
Originally, I wanted to do psychology or social work. But every curriculum kept leading me back to education. So I said, okay, maybe this is where I need to be. Yeah. So once I started in education and I realized that the social work, the psychology, you use all those skills in education. So that's when I knew it was my place.
And so when you started off teaching, what were you teaching and what grade level?
I started off at Baldwin Middle School in Milledgeville, Georgia, 8th grade language arts.
Did you? And then you moved where?
I came here to Crossroads Alternative School on Emily Curry Road, and I stayed there forever. And then I was asked to go to East Lawrence High School, and I had the best senior class ever. And then I came back to Crossroads and I've been here ever since.
When you think about your style of teaching, tell us what that is. And you know, it's so important to be able to reach kids. Tell us about your style of teaching and how you're able to really get the kids, you know, to think about how important their education is and for them to truly get it.
Well, I believe that you teach who you are. So you got to pour from a full cup. And I know with educators, sometimes we're just overwhelmed with all the new strategies and lesson plans, but at the end of the day, you want to teach from a place of rest and not worry. And so I always try to treat the children like I want to be treated. And I meet them where they are. And I try to take them where they need to be. Or we take each other.
That's beautiful, Jackie. And you know, for you, you've been at this for a long time, but have you noticed that sometimes young teachers or teachers who are just starting out, it's easy for them to get burnt out because if they're not thinking with that mentality, if they're initially thinking, look, I'm here, I'm going to save the world, I'm going to change the world, and they come in so gung-ho, but then as time goes on, it gets very disheartening. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, you have to balance it out, and we have a running joke in my family. I want to tell the young teachers to hang in there because I used to quit every Sunday. As a matter of fact, my nephew told me I had been retiring since he was in middle school. But
how old is he now?
26, maybe 27.
Right.
But you just have to balance it out. You want to save the world, but you have to do it not one day at a time. One class, one period, sometimes 1 second, one student at a time.
And what's your motivation? Because like you say, one student, one class at a time, but the motivation has got to be in here.
It does.
In order for you to really stick with it.
It does. You have to understand that I tell my students all the time, they will tell you, I say, you know, I'm getting older. Somebody has to take care of me when I grow old. And so when I teach them, I treat them and teach them because I'm looking at they may have to take care of me.
They're our future.
Like they are. It's not just a cliche. They are the future.
They're the future workforce. And so here it is. It's so important in what you do as educators because that's what you're doing. You're teaching our future.
You literally are, and you have to remind yourself of that, and constantly. You have to remind yourself that this is our future. And you're going to have your highs and your lows.
Yeah.
And if you know that going in, which most of us don't, because you want to save the world, and that's a good reason.
Right.
But you're going to get burnt out too quickly. You got to realize that I'm going to have some days where I'd rather be working somewhere else, but at the end of the day, it always comes back around to you want to be here.
Full circle.
Full circle.
That's when you know it's in you for real.
It's in you for real.
And you come from a family of educators.
I do.
Lord, you got Dr. O.J. Hall, Associate Superintendent.
I do.
Your little brother.
I do, yeah. You know.
You got Dr. Sherelle Edmond over at Dublin
That's
City
my cousin.
School. Come on. Tell us about your family lineage.
My mother's dad, Reverend Willie McGirt, was an educator. So it started way back.
Look at that.
And then I have two aunties they're educators. They were educators. Maddie McGirt and Carrie.
Look at that.
They're educators.
So here it is. You come from a family that really believe, for one, in public education. And they believe in reaching the whole child. When you all get together for family whatever, do y'all talk much about work?
Do we?
Burning that table up.
We really do. It comes as natural as breathing.
Look at that.
It's natural. And the good thing about that is because we have people in our family who are not educators. So when you get that communication going, it helps us to do better in the classroom because we'll hear a single mom or a parent in our family have one perspective.
Yeah.
And then we'll have another perspective because we're in the classroom, and that conversation is just dynamic. Because then I go back to the classroom with a different perspective. Is this how that parent saw that? And this is my sister.
Look at that.
And I didn't realize that she thought or saw that process like that.
So
it's amazing.
Getting a different perspective on things, a different take.
Because what you don't know, you just don't know. And sometimes you don't even know you don't know it.
But what's good about that is the way you all are able to go back and forth is it's so healthy to where you're still learning and you're still growing.
Every day. Every day.
The 30th year, Jackie. Now,
30th year.
I'm not even going to ask you when you're going to hang it up, because we need you. And you're still young, you're still vibrant, you still love your job.
Did my husband pay you to say that?
He didn't pay me a nickel, Nate. But just, you know, you love what you're doing.
I do.
And it shows in the way that you treat these kids. It shows in this bright light that comes from you, because you're like, hey, I understand these kids. I know where a lot of them come from, but I know that this is not the end of the road for them.
No, this is, you know, we've changed names many times here, but they're at a crossroads. And we all have crossroads in our lives. And when you get to that crossroads, you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Turn left or right, keep straight, back up. And so, but they encourage me. Because at the end of the day, I'm a servant.
And you know, that is what's beautiful about you, about Crossroads here. These young people, you know, unless you're here or really know what's happening behind these walls, it's like this is that family part to where you look at these young girls, you're like, okay, like that's my little niece here.
Exactly.
You know, I've got to make sure that she stays on the straight and narrow.
That they're good, that they're
and
okay.
yeah, and I think that that's something that they need to help keep them going.
They need it, but I think I need them more than they need me. They keep me going.
Girl, don't get me emotional. Don't get me emotional up here, Jackie.
They really do.
That's when you know you care for real. That's when you know that it's more to it than what meets the eye.
It is. It really is. And when I was growing up, this sounds terrible coming from a teacher, but you gotta be your truth and know your truth. I hated school.
Yeah.
To the point of I would get physically sick
Yeah.
on Sundays when I knew I had to go back to school on Monday. So how I ended up doing this, I know it was destiny, divine.
What I need to do is talk to your mama
She'll tell
and
you.
have her tell me about little Jackie.
Now my siblings were different. I want to go on record saying my siblings, but I was a force to be reckoned with when it came to school.
And look how you done simmered down.
I have. I tell the kids all the time, you need a good education because you never know what you're going to end up doing. You never know.
And you know, we're so fortunate to have you where you are as long as we've had you. Because there's so many teachers that have learned so much from you, Miss Nelson.
I hope so.
Oh my gosh. And the students. How does it feel when a student comes back to you after many years and say, hey, Miss Nelson?
It makes my day. I have $1 million grin on my
bet
face.
you do.
It makes my day.
And that makes everything that you do worth it.
It does.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us, Miss Nelson?
No, I have enjoyed the journey. I'm not sure when it's going to be over. And I say to all the teachers, just hang in there. Take it one day at a time, one season at a time, 9 weeks at a time, and always find a way to have some self and some me time. And I know they're going to say how with the children and with your, their own family. But it doesn't have to be on a cruise to the Bahamas.
Right.
It can be a 5-minute devotion or a reflection.
Go
just
on
some
your
me
back
time.
porch. Go on your
'Cause
back porch.
You want to pour from a full cup. You can't pour from an empty cup.
That's how burnout happens.
And you can't give them what you don't have.
I'm going to drop this mic
Don't do it.
and we're going to start taking up a collection because you're preaching here. Thank you so much.
Thank
Miss
you.
Jackie, it is a pleasure having you as a colleague. I love seeing you. I love chatting with you. I love coming in here, cutting up, disrupting class.
I do that. She does that for
I
real,
do
y'all.
that. But I'm so proud of the person that you are, the insight that you have,
Thank you.
and how you're able to deliver it every time to these kids.
I try my best.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the lovely Miss Jackie Nelson in her 30th year. She's here at Crossroads.
Since 1916, Gravely has been designed, engineered, and made right here in the USA. Whether you prefer gas or electric, every Gravely has been forged with the commercial landscaper in mind. So they're not only built to last, but to also keep you riding comfortably from dawn to dusk. So ask yourself, are you ready to graduate to a Gravely? Visit your local Gravely dealer today.
Hey, I'm TJ with Dublin Outdoors and Power Sports, formerly known as Myers Equipment Supply. We're your full-line dealer for Gravely lawnmower sales and service.
You know, there is quite a legacy here at Crossroads, and the longevity is outstanding. We've got Dr. Natasha Billups with us, 30 years in the game. How are you?
Yes.
Congratulations to you.
Thank
How
you.
are you?
I am doing well.
Talk to us about you, Doc. I mean, talk to us about your family, and we know you got a family lineage and education that far exceeds what anyone knows. So make sure you share that with us as well, okay?
Okay. Well, I have 30 years in education. I come from a family of educators. Parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. So that's what started me on the track, education. But I said, let me start out by substituting first to see if this is truly what I want to do.
Right.
Yes.
Now, your father.
Yes.
Tell us about your father.
Oh, my father. Oh, yes. My father had over 40 years in education. He retired in 30, and then he came back with 49%. But my father started his career in Lawrence County as a health and physical education teacher, coached basketball and football, and then it led him into administration. Assistant principal, and then he retired as associate superintendent for Lawrence County.
Look at that.
Oh, yes.
And he's still at the games.
He is.
We were out of town, and I saw your dad. And you know, he had his little bodyguards around him. They were looking out for him, making sure he was all right. But he was in his hometown.
That's right, Swainsboro, hometown.
And so here it is, your parents and your family members that have been in education. So automatically, here it is, you're like, let me just see if I like it. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean I want to do it.
Correct.
How did you fall in love with it, and why?
I fell in love with education because I saw that I can bring about a change. Every child can learn. Now, however, every child don't learn the same. So you got to figure out what is it that I can do or someone else, because they don't just learn from the teacher.
Right.
And that cooperative learning, they can learn from their classmates. And I don't feel bad. I have look at it wrong if they learn from their peers and not me. So that's great.
And you know, here it is, 30 years. When you first started off teaching, what were you teaching? What grade level? You know, what subject matter?
Okay.
And where were you?
I was right here at Crossroads. I taught middle school, language arts, social studies, reading. So that was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at that time. Yes.
So when you think about the climate of your classroom and your philosophy as an educator, what is your style of teaching?
I try to get to know each child for themselves, because I got to know what it is that will click with them.
Right.
So that's very important, getting to know your students. And not only just getting to know your students, getting to know their parents as well. Because when you need that help or that reinforcement, you know, it's just one call away. And so what are their strategies? I mean, some students they have to learn by seeing, others hearing, others seeing and hearing, and some of them can just pick it up automatically. So one thing will work for one student, it won't work for the next, and you got to understand that.
And you know what, Dr. Billups, we've been hearing that because it is synonymous in making sure that these kids are growing and learning, because kids are different.
They are.
And what's beautiful now about educators is the fact that you see that.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, I've identified this. Let me get the resources that this person needs so that this person can be successful. So looking at the whole child and realizing that everybody in this classroom is not the same.
Exactly. One thing that I know for certain is if I am working with a child and they are having a tough time or difficult time, sometimes it's okay to take a break and give them a break, give yourself a break, and allow them to marinate what has been said, what has been taught. It doesn't mean that it can't catch on. So you just got to work with that child and get to know him and her for themselves and what works, because not everybody wake up to a good morning.
I mean, we have to work at it, don't we,
have
Doc?
to work. We have to work with that.
And here at Crossroads, we want people to just really understand, too, the work that you all do here, how important it is for the whole Team Lawrence, you know, and making sure that I know a lot of times we're not here at Crossroads, as we were talking before, and so people don't actually know.
Right.
They just know it's the alternative school.
Exactly.
But you all do such a great
We
work.
make miracles happen every day out here.
Every day you're here to make miracles happen.
Right.
And it's like, and it's so important at what you do
Yes.
at this capacity because,
It is.
you know, people's stories are different. So things that may happen and which leads them to Crossroads.
Exactly.
But then that's not the end.
Exactly. You cannot let what a child has done or did affect who they are because they are constantly changing. They are, once again, we got to keep in mind, they are children. They will make mistakes. We can't label that and keep that label on them. We got to, you made a mistake.
Yeah.
We all make mistakes. Did it? Nah, let's get over it. Let's go. Let's go. And, you know, our focus, and they are always asking, what is that? You're always saying destination graduation. And that is their focus, destination graduation. And I tell even the middle school, you got something to look forward to. And, of course, I do, you know, push my high school, destination
sure you do.
graduation.
How does it make you feel, Dr. Billups, when these kids graduate, when they move on to bigger and better things and they see you down the street and give you a shout out to let you know how you have impacted their life in a positive manner and has helped them be the adults that they become?
A lot of times we just don't realize what we do for them. A lot of times they're not going to say it. They are taking it all in. But if I happen to see them out in the street, I mean, it's just a big hug.
Yeah.
I mean, they say, thank you, thank you, thank you. But somebody had to do it for me, too.
Somebody did.
Yes, I tell them, I say, someone had to do it for me. So I am just thankful and blessed that I can do it for you and show you that you can do it.
Wow.
There's a big world out here.
is.
Yes.
Destination graduation.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I love that, Dr. Billups. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you for these 30 years that you've gone into, that you have dedicated your life to seeing young people get better. You've dedicated your life for young people to be successful.
Yes.
You know, in a way, you've laid your life down.
Yes.
And, you know, your family lineage and the history behind your family,
Yes.
I mean, yes, that's part of your foundation, but here it is, you're still you know, doing great things in your own right.
Oh, yes, and that's why I'm always pouring that into my children. I have two, a son and a daughter, and then, of course, Yaya, my grandbaby, I'm pouring that into him as well, NJ, at 2 years old. So I want them to understand you never stop learning. You know, you don't stop learning when you graduate high school. You don't stop when you graduate college. It's just a going on and on and on. You're just going to constantly learn as you go.
That's that continuous education.
That is that continuous education. Because, hey, I found out at year 25, I said, hey, I'm getting close to 30. What am I going to do? So I did. I went back to mortuary school and got a degree.
Girl, look at you. They dying to see you, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they are.
Well, thank you so much for all that you are, Dr. Billups, because you are definitely a staple in this community, as well as your family, the foundation, even though it's Swainsboro,
Yeah,
right?
that's
But y'all done
Swainsboro.
brought it here to Lawrence
That's
County,
right.
and so we're so appreciative of that.
Well, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Natasha Billups.
Quality products and installations since 1985. That's 4 seasons. Progressive Rural Telephone Co-op offers a full range of communication products and services to its members in Lawrence County and surrounding areas. We take pride in being your total communications provider, and we work hard to provide quality services at the best prices. In addition to offering phone service, we provide high-speed internet and digital high-def TV. And we always strive to put our members first. Progressive Rural, your total communications company. Small enough to know you, large enough to serve you. ProgressiveTel.com. Call 478-984-4201 or stop by 890 Simpson Avenue in Renss. Progressive Rural Telephone Co-op.
You know, we're having such a great day here visiting at Crossroads, and we had to come into this room right here and talk to these two and let them share with you about themselves. We're going to talk to them a little bit about, give a little history about your families and in education, because I know you've been at it a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
And you, young blood, you rolling along, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're going to start with you. Tell us who you are, tell us about your family, and talk to us about your education and why the field of education.
My name is Heather Barber, and I am married, been married for 25 years, and I have 4 wonderful kids. My oldest is 21, and she attends Liberty University in Virginia. Then I have an 18-year-old. She's not in college, doesn't know what she wants to do with herself yet. And then I have a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old. They attend Northwest Lawrence Elementary. And I became in education because I wanted to see how I could make a difference in the children's lives.
Wow. Now, do you remember when you were in school?
I do.
Do you remember any teachers that really stood out for you that like really were positive influences in your life?
Yes, ma'am. I remember when they used to just hug your neck, tell you you're doing a great job, and they really made you shine because they made you feel like you were valuable.
Wow.
They would come and sit down and help you and pat you on the back, and then they would also tell your parents what a great job you were doing. So I think that's what we want to do as educators.
Kind of like that positive reinforcement, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you've been at this for how many years?
This is year number 18 for me.
Look at you, Heather. Did you ever think that you would be in education for one and then at this length of time?
No. I thought I was going to be in the medical field,
Right.
and I didn't end up there, so now I'm in education, and I love every minute of it.
Very good. We're glad to have you. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Teacher of the Year, Antonio Green. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How you doing?
Doing great. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right, talk to us about you. Talk to us about your family and yourself deciding to go into education. And you need to brag on yourself a little bit, Antonio.
I'm not too good at bragging on myself. But my name is Antonio Green. This is my going in my 5th year and being a teacher. I have a beautiful wife, and we have gorgeous kids, and I have a beautiful family. A lot of you guys know my brother, Cornelius Green. He worked with the Sheriff Department, and one of the main reasons why I love this job and why I wanted to become a teacher is so I can give back to the kids who reminds me of myself. You know, being a positive role model to them, you know, is one of the best things that I can possibly do every single day and actually enjoy it. I just recently graduated from Georgia College State University with my master's.
Go Bobcats.
And so, yeah, that's pretty much it.
You know, congratulations to you, Antonio, on many fronts here. And you now, as an athlete, you got to tell them a little bit about yourself.
I graduated from the University of Sioux Falls. It's located in South Dakota. A lot of people don't know where that is. I had the opportunity to be scouted by NFL scouts, but unfortunately I had to have knee surgery, and so that's why I decided to move back home and to get into coaching so I can do the same thing for these kids that my coaches did for me.
You know, I will never forget that because, you know, I've known his family for many, many years. His grandfather and my dad were best friends, and I was really good friends with his dad, rode the school bus together. But I remember when you were in college and then you were looking to be scouted by the NFL, and I was back and forth talking to your family. I'm like, hey, let me know so we can do a show. You know, it's like just knowing how hard you worked, your discipline as an athlete, and then getting injured. How did you bounce back from that, Antonio? Because it's easy to say, well, I got hurt and then I decided to go into, because there's a lot that goes into that when you are such an athlete as yourself.
I would have to, you know, point back to my parents because they taught me to have, you know, faith, even if it's the size of a mustard seed. As long as you have faith in yourself and faith that even when something's not going the way that you want it to go, that you'll always be able to bounce back from that. So that's one of the main things that helped me get through it was my mom and dad.
And you done bounced back, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, the Teacher of the Year, Antonio. When you heard that, when they announced that, what did you think?
It was a lot going through my mind, and I know I shed a couple of tears because I was not expecting it, especially being a young teacher and still learning as the years go by. But it was an amazing feeling, and it you know, it made me feel like this is where I'm supposed to be.
It's kind of like solidifies that, right? Because like you were saying, Heather, you're like, look, I didn't plan or think that I was going to be in education this long, but now I'm here. I've settled in. That's right. And you're here to make a difference. When you think about reaching kids, you know, what is your style? What is your philosophy behind reaching these kids and getting them educated? Because it gets hard sometimes.
I try to step down to their level and let them know that no matter where they've been, what they've done, that we still care for them and they still matter. Because at the end of the day, when they leave here, they're somebody's child. Yeah. Just like your child, my child. You know, I want them to know that they're valued, they're important, and they can reach for the stars. Mm-hmm.
And right here at Crossroads, you're doing that, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
And Antonio, when people see you automatically by your presence, they like either this joker can play some ball or he done played some ball. And as a coach, how is it your coaching style? How different is it, or how much of your coaching style and your teaching style, how much of that is the same?
One of the things that's the same is that, you know, like you said, I'm a big guy. People can tell that I played football in the past, and so that can be intimidating at times. And so people think I'm aggressive, I'm angry, I'm loud. You know, I get on to people really hard, but technically it's the opposite. You know, I'm soft. A lot of people call me a teddy bear, you know, so it's kind of the same on the football field and in the classroom, because I know I didn't respond well when someone yelled at me, so I'm not going to yell at, someone else.
You know, what's beautiful about that is knowing your brothers and knowing that you all are athletes. Demetrius. Now, who are the twins?
Demetrius and Cornelius.
Oh, Lord. Nobody will believe that.
No, they will not.
And you know what's funny is Demetrius, he's got the most mouth.
He does.
And he's the smallest.
He does.
Surprise.
But I can't say he can back it up, though. So.
Oh, I noticed that when he did a backwards flip in the gym, flat-footed. But, and here it is, you boys, and how you all work together, and now here it is, you're segueing, coaching, and now a teacher. That's pretty special for you.
Yes, ma'am, it is. Like I said before, it's a blessing to be in this opportunity to be able to give back to the kids and to the community.
For sure. And Heather, what do you want to make sure that the families know about you as an educator, because they're entrusting their kids in your hands? And here at Crossroads, a lot of times it's given a bad rap. We've been saying that before, that people have stereotypes about when a child comes over here to Crossroads, but you all have a very specific task, is to make sure that these kids are getting what they're needing to be a success, to get back into those classrooms, and to finish strong. What do you want the parents to know?
We want the parents to know that we believe these children are valuable, and that there's nothing that they can't achieve that we're not going to help them with. We're going to help them to get to be to the highest they can be. That when they go back to the school, we know that people like to bring things back, and you've been to the alternative school, but we want them to know that they can walk out of here with a clear slate and know that their child was cared for, loved, and we tried our best to get them to where they need to be.
Very good. Thank you, Heather. And Mr. Green, what do you want to say to these young people here? Because you're a young man yourself. You understand what life is like. Yes. And these kids come in here, they're not the same. They have different things that they're experiencing. What do you want to say to encourage every young person that has had to come to Crossroads, that are here at Crossroads, and what do you want to say to them?
The main thing that I want to say is don't become a victim of your own circumstances. And basically what I mean by that is, no matter what's going on outside of school, no matter what's going on at home, still try to fight through and still use the positive things that you have around you and use that to help motivate you to become a better person.
Very good. Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure chatting with both of you. Congratulations. You're 18 years, baby girl. You're still going. Thank you for what you do for these kids. Thank you for helping them to believe in themselves so that they can move forward and be successful, not only in the classroom, but in society. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Teacher of the Year, for what you do, the vested interest you have in these kids, how you're able to relate to them on so many levels, but at the same time, you know how to encourage them and admonish them to want to do better.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the lovely Heather, and also Teacher of the Year, Coach Green.